what I see and what we talked about before your show was the need for capital and access to capital. That's money, people, time, experience, and all that. And how do you put it together? And how do you make, how do you turn negatives into positives? In other words, and like that. And so how is it that we can bring these people together? Because what most of them don't have is access. Most don't know where and how to begin. They also want financial control of their future, right? So how are they going to get it? And the fastest, most powerful way to do that is in the private market. And yet, most investors, in this study we just saw, that 50% of the high net worth and large players have their investments into private markets, but the small little guy, if they hit zero or a little over that, that's doing real well. And that's where we see it. So what is it that we're seeing as the missing piece here and bringing it all together? People want access. They want to get into the game, they want to be vital, and they want to be with real critical businesses that are going to help it.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
You've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Welcome back to Clicks and Bricks. Today we're talking with David. He's the founder of Startup Rockit and DealRockit, and we're going to jump right into this. How are you doing today, David?
Oh, great. And by the way, Ken, thank you very much for having me here. I just want to thank you and your crew for all you do. I don't know if you get a lot of compliments on this, but
I don't get enough for sure. I'll take them wherever I can get them, and I appreciate it. We definitely appreciate your time too. We're excited to learn about what DealRockit and Startup Rockit are. But first, I'd like the audience to know a little bit more about you. I hear you went to law school, and then out of that, you worked with a firm. Tell us a little bit about your beginnings.
Absolutely. I'm probably one of the biggest hypocrites you'll ever meet. I never thought I wanted to go into business or corporations. And then when I was in law school, I got an offer to be the assistant to the chairman and CEO of a large public company in Chicago. I wasn't smart enough to accept it the first time around. And then I realized, wow, I probably could be making the biggest mistake of my life. So I decided to venture in this new territory. I grew up in a union environment. My father was a labor union attorney. My grandfather was, and so forth. I worked a lot of manual labor jobs. So I didn't really have a great feeling about corporations. But on the other hand, my grandfather was a great entrepreneur. And I've always loved the thought of doing that. So after I joined this company, and then when I left it, I've been an entrepreneur really all my own. I've done, whether it's mergers, acquisitions, but all of them I've been run and handled by me, and most of them self-financed and so forth. So I think I have a pretty good grasp of what it's like to be on every side of the table, if you know what I mean. So to try to understand, I think one of the most important things is to understand who you're sitting across from, who your customers are, what makes them tick, your vendors, all these. And these are all part of an ecosystem. And I think it's really important to create a virtual cycle where everybody wins. And that's really our goal.
So normally I like to talk a lot about the history and how we got to where we're going. But I want to jump right in because I think that DealRockit and Startup Rockit have such potential to help our audience. I want to jump right into how you got started with those. And it's like most stories, I think a 10 or 20 year overnight success, right? Because you didn't start DealRockit, I don't think, until 2020. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, pandemic. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. First of all, my passion is in small business. And I just can't tell you that both of these platforms and what they're about are really built for your audience. And for those that feel like they've been left out or feel like that they haven't quite had the experience they want or looking to grow. I mean, our goal is to take people, businesses, and powerful ideas and make sure they become great together. And that's really what we're about. How do you make it extraordinary? How do you bring all the pieces together? So with DealRockit, which was our first, I've had this idea in my head for 20 years, really, maybe 15, 20 years. And I wrote a couple of pieces for the Huffington Post. I was asked to write. Believe me, I wasn't a professional writer or anything like that. But they said, with your background, would you please do it? I guess they heard me speak somewhere and I got approached. Anyway, long story short, they both went viral. I mean, much to my total shock. And out of the woodwork, and this is a great lesson for your audience too, about never always take a look about where you're getting feedback from and respond to it, understand it. And out of the woodwork came all these people. They find you, they get your email. They start asking your questions. They're saying, this is the first time anybody's speaking to me. You're talking my language. I understand where you're going. Keep going. And, I had never developed software, at least thought so. And then a friend of mine said to me, you really should develop software. You got this concept in your mind and do it. I said, I can barely write code. He goes, sometimes you're just either the smartest person in the room or the dumbest. I mean, seriously. He says, you've been designing software your entire life, whether it's inventory, transportation, logistics, deal flow, whatever it is, you've always designed it. And then you turn it over to programmers and let them do it. And then you have that iterative process back and forth. And that's all of a sudden it dawned on me. And then, my wife said to me, and this is another nudge, and I mean in a very positive way. She says, this is my refraining, not hers. But all that bitching and moaning you've been doing over the years, how inefficient the marketplace is, how the little guy is never getting the right opportunities, that they never get to see everything out there as opposed to the bigger player. You've gotten more feedback in a week than you have that you would get by knocking on your door, at every door of these people for the next 5 years. I mean, it's unbelievable what technology can provide. It took me a week to respond to all these emails. I mean, literally full time, but it was worth it. And then, so I got that nudge and I wanted to make sure to send it out to, of all places, 5 of the largest financial services firms. I wasn't quite convinced yet, but I just wanted to get some validation because I've always felt that the big guy needs the little guy as much as the little guy needs the big guy. Okay. And this is where we've come up with a term and I've written about quite frequently called big guy, little guy collaboration. So of all places, this is before they imploded. I sent a 1-paragraph email to Wells Fargo, unsolicited. I wasn't expecting, realistically, was I expecting to get anything back? No, but I sent it at 4 p.m. on a Thursday. Friday at 9 a.m. in the morning, they call me. I almost fell off my chair. My regular banker doesn't get back to me that fast. And they said, this is the most exciting concept that we've heard about in over a decade. Remember, we hadn't written a stitch of code at the time, so I just want you to know. And I was like, whoa. And they said, you're talking about ecosystem investing where, we can bring in our customers, clients, prospects, offices, teams, and all that. I mean, and bring them all together and, and cut out all these, inefficiencies and things. And we can really show our services and so forth like that. And I'm going on and I'm just waiting for that butt to drop, Ken. I'm just waiting. And then they said it. They said, we have 3 million small business customers. And I go, yes. My voice kind of dropped. And they said, we probably have another 10, 15, maybe 20 million in our rest of our ecosystem between additional, referral partners, teams, offices, all these, we got a lot going on, insurance, we got a lot going on at our company. I said, yes. And then they said, but how do we know it works? And they said, are you familiar with an MVP, minimally viable product? I said, yes. They said, we can't stand them. I go, really? So I said, what do you suggest? They said, assuming this all works, how do we, you can invite all these people on like you're talking about. We need for you to develop a fully developed platform for us before we'll take a look at it. These 5-10 examples just don't work for us. So I said, what are you talking? What would you recommend? They said 15 to 20,000, real or mock users. And so we could really kick it around. And I said, why 15 to 20,000? They said, well, once you get to that level and it goes extraordinarily fast, we know it can handle tens of billions. It just, scales up. And I'm sure you know by your technology, your background in software and technology as well. So instead of taking the win and going home and now figuring out that we got a validation, I said, what about 50 to 100,000? And they said, even better. So anyways, that's how we got going on DealRockit and Startup Rockit. But what I said to them at the end, I said, I understand you don't like MVPs, but you want us to be your MVP. And they said, what do you mean? I said, you're asking me to solve your most valuable problem. And he says, exactly. So that's what we tried to do at DealRockit. And we wanted to try to bring all these people together. So on our DealRockit platform, we have different, but for the very large users, they can bring in their, all these people in their ecosystem, literally bring in millions at a time and get it going. And the small business people can either come on individually. They can also get invited, by the way, onto this platform for free at no charge. And or if they want to become what we call a power player, they could bring in their entire firm on and invite their customers and prospects as well, if they see fit. Because what I see going on, if you go to our about pages, either on DealRockit or Startup Rockit, that's an IT on both of them at the end, that we think that it's doing business in the future is not just a product or service that you're providing now, but what is that additional extension? What's that additional superpower that you can give your customer or supplier or vendor or prospect or potential talent or employees that they can't do on their own or they're not receiving now, that will not take away from your focus on what you're trying to deliver? And that's, to me, is what the ultimate value of customer service. For the larger player today, as you all know, it's customer experience, right? Lifetime customer value and customer acquisition. For the little guy is connection, right? How do I get access to capital, the people, all these type of things? And that's what the big guy is missing. They're missing the connection, and the little guy needs the connecting. So we just take that term and that's how we put it together in an extraordinarily great way. And it's a great way to rainmake. We have, for example, you only match with the like-minded people. So there's no wasting of time. It's all really well done. And what we plan to do on our Startup Rockit side with our individual membership, we're about to put a whole video series together on startups, small business, and so forth, and take people through the process and show them that they're not alone. This is how it can be done. This is what the other side is looking for. And it's just going to be, really great. And I know for your business and what you do, we just appreciate people like you and the services you provide out there as well.
Wonderful. I'm obviously passionate about small and medium-sized business as well, right? It's what I talk about almost every single day of my life. So can you bring that back a little bit? And then let's just talk about DealRockit.it for a second. Act like I'm a third grader. What does DealRockit do?
DealRockit, first of all, it's spelled DealRockit.com. Okay, so it's with the IT. But in a nutshell,
we'll throw all that all the links at the bottom of this profile, and we'll have it up here on the banner as well.
What DealRockit does, in essence, is to simplify and level the playing field. So whether you're the small guy, big guy, or you're trying to get into it, there's a way for you. So if you're a larger player, for example, Ken, it's a way of inviting the people that you want to connect with. It's a way of investing in others so you can end up being the biggest winner of all. So our view is if you go into the platform, let me give you an example. As a firm, say you're a small firm, you can invite your customers and suppliers and professionals, whoever you want, onto the platform. They in turn can join at no charge, and they have a chance to now get out there just like the rest of your people. But let's say we'll take a firm like yourself. How big is it, for example? I'll run you through. How many people do you have in your company?
In my total, underneath that report to me, or just total?
Just total, however you want to say.
I'm about 35 deep right now.
Okay, 35. So literally, and you have customers as well, right?
Correct.
And you have prospects.
Correct.
And vendors. So just think about, and you have your people, and I'm sure you have people in the sales and development area of your company too, correct? Okay. So you would want to bring, so you could invite all these people. You could invite, you as the power player, for example, on this, could invite your customers, your prospects. So you could say to me, hey, David, I want to invite you onto this platform. And as most entrepreneurs have said to me, if I got invited on by one of my potential vendors or providers, if I didn't die first of a heart attack, I'd get up off the ground and kiss them because they're investing in me. Right. So what you're giving back, you're investing in them because if ultimately for what people want is a level playing field today and access. And if you're the one who can provide it, you're going to be the biggest winner of all. So we take no fees on this. There's no success fees and anything like that. So now with your people, they can get on and they'll fill out their individual profile. Or if they want to create a deal team of their own, they can do that. They can join up to 12 of them. So if you think about it strategically, you could have your people placed on different deal teams all around, and you can get your services in there. Plus, someone like myself, if I had my own, I'd probably love to have you or one of your people on the platform, because what we're doing is one of the people said about one of the top entrepreneurs out there said about our platform, we align strengths, making weaknesses irrelevant. So where I'm weak, I can say, I could really use help in the technology area. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? And with your field and hosting and all these other type of things that I'm not. And so I would besides the money I may want you to provide, or capital's not just money. It's also the expertise and experience that some people like me and most of us think about. We bring together people, ideas, concepts, expertises that would never otherwise meet, and match them and put them together extraordinarily fast. A kind of a funny story was when I was looking into it and designing it and realizing that I was about to go down a road that I wasn't. So I took a pivot, but I told my wife, I said, I want to understand how this dating technology works, matching. I just want to make sure I'm doing it right and all that. So I said, if you see me on any of these dating sites, and so forth, or on my screen open, I'm not looking for a date. I'm just trying to understand it. But to your audience, Ken, and it's trying to understand, be curious. This is like I've heard you talk about before, be curious, look at other things, challenge yourself, pivot, put yourself in somebody else's shoes. What's it like to be on the other side? And that's what we've really done here. I've tried to check our egos at the door, and our job is to make it the best place for anyone else to, culminate and move forward however they see fit. So for the larger person, bigger guy who doesn't know how to use their own ecosystem very well, this is a fantastic way to be able to reward them and show what they're doing. For others, what do they need? They just need that chance, right? They need that expertise. And some people may decide to use it for another reason, which is, I want to solve the inclusion problem. So if you want to invite every startup, small business, minority, woman, purple hair, we joker, but if you can make that happen and solve a problem, solve these type of problems, very fast. I have very little patience for the all wind up, no fastball crowd. And we really want to solve these type of issues. And if we can help you do that, it's going to only make your business better. It's only going to make you more valuable to the people you want to be more valuable to. Plus, think about the retention level today with talent and all the risk at it. If you give them a chance to do something that allows them to make more money, to get involved in certain things, and even you may be able to find different technologies or new businesses out there that you may want to join forces with, correct? And this is what excites me. So anyways, that's what it's all about. So it's really about that's DealRockit.
And I'm going to try to diagnose that just a little bit. So almost a social network for businesses to sign up, or business people, and then like matchmaking. Almost.
Well, how about kind of. It's kind of like Henry Ford said, if I asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse, okay? So what we say is seeing is believing. What Steve Jobs said about, when he came out, he goes, our job is not to ask our customers what they want. Our job is to see, listen, and observe and present something forward. So I'm digressing a little bit here, but I want to give you an example. And plus, I'd love, and when we're done at some point in time, love to get you on, and maybe we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
I'll definitely kick those tires.
Yeah.
Interested to do that.
By the way, we love it when people do it. Okay. Because anyways, but what Jobs, think about Lee Iacocca, with the minivan, and think about the iPod. 1,000 songs on your sleeve. I don't know about you, but I didn't go to bed at night thinking I wanted one. But when I woke up and saw it, you know what I'm saying? I go,
Right.
whoa, wow, like where did this come from? How did they think about this? So we have that ability to do that. And what I've noticed over the years and what I'm very good at is understanding is if I can't diagram what I see as an issue, and when I get to that gap, is how do you build that bridge so it can go across?
Right.
And that's one of the beauties about software. It gives you that superpower. It's something you could never have done on your own or by yourself, right? And this gives it to you. And what do our people need out there? What is it they really need? And, we help amazing businesses and people do incredible stuff. I mean, we can talk about all you want, but I mean, when you have something that can really step up the game, I don't think you really need to talk specifically about it, but how do you solve this problem for me? How do I get there? And how easy it to use? And we put it at your fingertips. And it's kind of counterintuitive, like, what? They're not taking a success fee? What? We're a SaaS base. We take a membership fee and upgrades, but our goal is to have the best analytics in the world. So people like you, when you talk to your customers and move forward, can even become more valuable and give them additional information about their businesses or other people out there. And we even have different scenarios out there, so you can test it like on advanced match. You can test things out. So maybe you're not ready to go, but you want to see what your business would look like and who might be interested in it, who might be interested in your deal teams. So it's not something, it's for the novice or sophisticate. There's something there for everybody. And, from the Startup Rockit side, I developed that during COVID. I had to redo DealRockit too, because the world all of a sudden got compressed within 1 week, 5 years within 1 week. So we had to basically go from DealRockit 1.0 to 4.0. But in the meantime, I saw that at the at-home revolution, and that more people working away and the side hustles, and there's a whole generation out there of next actors, 60 plus. You think they're ready to go out to pasture? I don't think so. And I think the next gens, they love startups in those area. And what do they want to be? They want to get involved with something, with a meaningful business that has a chance to make a real impact, that they have a chance to make a real impact. So realizing there's no really central area to do this, a real marketplace to be able to put all these type of people together in like-minded views, and how do you match them up and make it so damn simple that even I could figure it out? Well, that's what we've done at Startup Rockit. So what I see and what we talked about before your show was the need for capital and access to capital. That's money, people, time, experience, and all that. And how do you put it together? And how do you how do you turn negatives into positives? In other words, and like that. And so how is it that we can bring these people together? Because what most of them don't have is access. Most don't know where and how to begin. They also want financial control of their future, right? So how are they going to get it? And the fastest, most powerful way to do that is in the private market. And yet, most investors, in this study we just saw, that 50% of the high net worth and large players have their investments into private markets, but the small little guy, if they hit zero or a little over that, that's doing real well. And that's where we see it. So what is it that we're seeing as the missing piece here and bringing it all together? People want access. They want to get into the game. They want to be vital, and they want to be with real critical businesses that are going to help it. And yet they don't want to be dependent on the public markets, and they want to be able to define their own terms, where they work, how they live, and going forward. And what better way to do that is have a platform like this that can give you fingertip control and give you the connections in relation to what you need. So whether you're looking to grow your business, whether you're looking to get on what we call our deal teams to bring these people together, or whether you're looking to go to market and get your the capital, the actual dollars and cents that you want to raise, that's exactly what we could do. And meanwhile, the people who make this happen are going to be the biggest winners of them all, because the people that they are inviting on this platform are going to do extraordinarily well, which means their businesses should do well, which also should mean their loyalty to you should grow in spades. It should be just incredible. And I can go on explaining it, but as we say, seeing is believing. And so when you when you feel like it and you would like to come back and show you, I'll take you through a demo and then I'll let you kick the living bejeebers out of it and we'll have to.
Absolutely. I'm going to take you up on that offer.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Absolutely. No, and by the way, I also would love to see how your business operates as well and so forth like that. Sure.
I have a couple of them under my belt right now. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because it helps me think, you know what I mean? Because there's always more ways. And when you make a personalized customer experience, it's always better. Correct?
Absolutely. Yes, if you can. It's challenging, but if you can do it, it's definitely worthwhile. It sounds to me like we talk a lot, not a whole lot, but I talk about it occasionally on the show. I generally keep it away. Equality and equity. And it sounds to me like your platforms are leveling that equity playing field for a lot of people, right? It's really challenging for a person from anywhere, right, to ask somebody for startup capital, or even how do you even start doing that, right? But you're putting those groups of people together in a platform versus, you don't have to go and pitch on a stage anymore. You can literally just write it out, and then they never even see the person on the other side, or they don't have to see the person on the other side. They can literally just take it for the merit of what the proposal is.
Or it gets you to that next step. Think about all those doors and not knowing where to go. Now, all of a sudden, you have a built-in connection base. Now, you hit the thing about the pitch deck and different things like that. And if you look at how our listings are set up, it's really a built-in pitch deck already set up. Okay. It will ask you the questions that the other side wants to know. So whatever side you're on, the capital seeker side or the capital provider side, we have a two-sided equation all the time. So what's asked of one is always asked of the other. And what's of interest to one, the other side better get that understanding. You know what I'm saying? So we've already walked it through. And part of this video series that we're going to be doing is also going to be taking it through and getting a further understanding what each side wants. And why can't you be proactive? Why is it that, you have to assume? When I was in law school, they wrote on whiteboard, assume, make an ass out of you and me. You know what I'm saying? So we try to reduce risk, right? We are like an insurance policy. People buy home insurance, right? For all those fears. Well, now we take the fear and risk out of it. And so we put it all together. We call it passing the baton. If you think about Americans in a relay race, we've always had the four fastest runners, but we very rarely win because we don't pass the baton very well. And this is seamless. I mean, if you do what is asked, it'll take a very short period of time. The baton goes through for you. It's all fingertip control. And what everybody wants is they don't want someone like, I'll be the bad guy here, someone like me hanging around like a bad smell that won't leave. They want to be able to say, thank you very much. I can take it from here. So we've already built it in. We have said the Kens of the world, the Wells Fargos, whoever they are, all they want is that, right? They want that tool that can give them access to new technology, that can do the connection, that can give them what I want. And my frustration is, Ken, is I want to give users the access and the experience that I wish I had. And that's right. What I want. And that, if roles were reversed, this is the experience that I would access, an experience I want to give our customers, our members, and so forth. And if you think about yourself as employer with customers, or even from the very large person, what do they want to do? They need to learn how to monetize and mobilize their ecosystem. All of them, it's not just email addresses, These are, how do you personalize it? And man, when you tell people you want to give them in the game, you want to get them off the sidelines into the game, all of a sudden, what have we done overnight? We've leveled the playing field. And on the other hand, if you have a personal agenda as a company, you know what I mean? If you want to go through and decide that this is a certain factor you want to go and be known for, I mean, just think about it. You're now you're not just creating an opportunity, but you're also solving some major problems. And if a recession hits, by the way, and these platforms go gangbusters, these platforms like these will be one of the saviors, because we're making the decisions on the money going in. We're giving whole new pools of capital never produced. And you know what? We can create our own interest rates if we want to do loans or whatever it is as well, right? So this is all, and this is exactly what you talked about, getting to know the other side. That's about deal teams. And so you don't have to stand on ceremony. If I try to connect with you like on a deal team or going forward, you don't have to, either side can approach the other and match right away. And then you can take it from there. And a lot of the due diligence should already be done for you if you really do this right. So our goal is, how do you solve these problems that should be done in split seconds? It just really bothered me, Ken, that fast, simple, and affordable was just never in this vernacular. That was never the standard going forward. And I've done a lot of deals myself, and I can tell you, the lack of choice, you have to find these brokers here and going there. By the way, brokers and bankers can put their people on as well. And if you're a provider, you can even put your name on instead of the customer if they wanted to, so you can stand in the profile as well. But, this is up for you to determine how you view your customers. It shows, it tells your story. And my view has always been is, why should I open my mouth and try to profess how good or great I am when my actions and others should be able to tell my story for me? And that's what we're really about. And I think when you get behind us, babies, you're going to see, and I can't wait to see your response.
Thanks for watching today's episode of Clicks and Bricks. Get to work.